So both fighters touch him up. Benji Estevez, the man in the middle, controlling the action. Again, it's Vasquez, it's Charles, it's 8 rounds. It's 2 fighters that have a bunch of heart, a bunch of guts. They take punches, they absorb punches. I have a feeling you're going to see fireworks over 8 rounds. Again, Vasquez, 16-8-1, starts off with 2 quick lefts. He's wearing the red trunks. And Osnel Charles, 9-8-1, fighting out of Atlantic City with the black trunks and sprinkled in the gray.
Now, Osnel Charles is capable of turning into just a counterpuncher. Now, it'll be interesting to see what he does here. If these guys both go forward, this is going to be a major collision.
This one slated for 8. Good left by Vasquez. Scores early in round number 1. Good counter, as you alluded to, by Charles, Ron.
Charles is a good counterpuncher. Vasquez not so much, but Vasquez is good on the attack. If Charles can keep, if Charles is going to pressure Vasquez and back him up, Vasquez does not fight well backing up.
And that's exactly what Tevin Farmer was able to do. Get him, fight him, push him back, get him against the ropes like we see Charles doing right here. That's not where Victor Vasquez wants to be.
Both of these guys have been gatekeepers in the city of Philadelphia. If you were going to be a good prospect, you had to get past one or both of these guys. And these guys could just make your life miserable. And they've given these big fighters, these great young fighters, severe challenges.
And look, and we mentioned they fought before a couple years ago. They have some common opponents. They, Rod Salka, Charles fought a couple guys that I mentioned, Benitez. Vasquez fought Naeem Nelson, Doran Spivey, fought Tevin Farmer, who's really on the cusp of becoming a great fighter out of Philadelphia. So these guys are no slouches, man. I mean, they come to bring it and they come to fight all the time. And I think the reason I like watching both these guys is because they'll throw and they'll take punches, but they just keep going forward. They're Philly fighters. Even though Charles is an Atlantic City guy, I'll stick him with some of those tough guys out of the Northeast. I mean, he just fights forward.
Well, they've had a pretty active first round. I remember Naeem Nelson, who fought both of these guys and decisioned both of them.
Right.
His comment when he was stepping up in grade, I asked him, hey, is this going to be the toughest opponent you've ever had? And he said, I hope he's not as tough as Victor Vasquez.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's high praise because Vasquez, as I alluded to, very tough fighter. Unorthodox at times, but, always comes in ready to fight, mentally ready, mentally hungry. He's taken a lot of punishment throughout his career, but the guy just fights hard, and we're seeing it right now. Very entertaining round number 1, scheduled for 8, coming to a close between Charles and Vasquez.
Plenty of leather being thrown.
Absolutely. I don't know how much weight do you put in the fact that this is a rematch. I think if this was a rematch from maybe 6 months ago, a year ago, I think a little more juice, a little more flavor. But it's always interesting to see 2 guys pit against each other and then let it play out, then see them fight again. And you kind of gauge where their careers have gone since their first fight.
Well, there's been a lot of water under the bridge since these 2 guys fought. I mean, they fought a bunch of monsters, both of them. And it has been, they've certainly been extremely, these are 2 active guys. So you're right. In terms of it being a rematch, I think that's fairly meaningless, except maybe to the fighters themselves. But it's an action fight so far. It's good stuff.
Scheduled for 8, again, 1 round in the books between Victor Vasquez and Osnel Charles. Don't forget our co-main event, Miguel Cartagena taking on Miguel Robles. And also the main event, USBA featherweight title, Eric Hunter versus Yenifel Vicente. But right now, round number 2, slated for 8 between Vasquez and Charles. Rich Quinones alongside my broadcast partner, Ron Christian, ringside at Harrah's, Philadelphia for Fight Night. Right here on GFL.TV and Comcast Sportsnet. Tough to gauge round number 1 because both fighters threw a lot of leather. Vasquez starts off round number 2 with 2 straight lefts.
I thought Vasquez won round number 1 on my scorecard. He just landed a few more shots. But, Vasquez, when he's using that left hand, and his corner's yelling at him, throw 3 lefts, Don't throw 1. Punch your way in with that left hand. and then unload. And he's done a pretty good job of that up till
Good
now.
counter left by Charles.
Good counter puncher.
Another counter.
And Charles not backing up, by the way. I mean, he's continuing to move forward.
Good counter again, left and a right. Now it's Vasquez comes back with another left and a right. Both men engaging. Center of the ring, round number 2. Vasquez tries to go downstairs. I think Charles showed me a lot when he fought Frankie Santos de Alba.
Oh, courage.
Well, I think Victor Vasquez is hurt.
I don't know what. I did not know exactly what that sequence
I
is
think
about.
he lost his footing as he went right under the ropes.
Did they count that
Scoring
as a
that a
knockdown? I believe?
knockdown. Vasquez comes straight forward. I don't know if he just lost his footing and was kind of carried. Usually there's no band actually between those ropes. I don't know if it's a clean knockdown, but it was scored a knockdown.
Well, I'm going to look forward to seeing the
Replay on that
of
one.
But I think some of those body shots that Osnel Charles landed are affecting Vasquez.
Charles just one knockout in his career.
Not a huge puncher, but he may have just landed the perfect body punch there.
Could have been a liver shot. Yeah, we couldn't see. Our view was obstructed. But Vasquez, nonetheless, gets back up, shoves Charles away, and fights on. Goes downstairs with a good combination. Then he comes back upstairs.
Well, Victor Vasquez acquitting himself extremely well after that knockdown.
Charles comes back with a right, loses his footing. Vasquez goes downstairs. Vasquez in the red trunks, Charles in the black trunks. Again, round number 2 scheduled for 8.
My goodness, Rich, these guys have not stopped punching.
They're conditioned to go 8.
Yep.
It's just, I think it's going to be a matter of wills come round number 4, number 5, number 6. We'll see if it goes to those rounds. Good uppercut by Victor Vasquez, scores. Final 10, round number 2. Oh, another right counter by Charles, scores. Now it's Vasquez with a late flurry. Oh, goodness, good action. Charles just stared
Now
at Victor Vasquez.
You can debate whether that should be a 10-8 round or a 10-9 round.
You can, because a 10-8 round is showing you got knocked down, you didn't fight back. A 10-9 round is you got knocked down and you fought back, and you made it very interesting as we take a look at the replay. Now, there's the liver shot. I think he just lost his footing.
Well,
I'd like to see that again.
Yeah, I'd like to see that again, too. Okay, he's knocked off balance.
Knocked off balance a little bit. I'm not sure if he lost his footing, but it was that left shot. Not sure if it was a liver shot. The bottom line is it was ruled a knockdown.
Here we see it again. Okay, Vasquez is off balance, takes a shot to the...
Now, I guess the argument is if the ropes weren't there, he would have hit the canvas.
You know, he took a body shot there. I just don't know that that really hurt him.
How'd you score round number
10-9.
Okay.
I gave it 10-9.
2 in the book, scheduled for 8 between Charles and Vasquez. Victor Vasquez in the red trunks, Osnel Charles in the black trunks.
Well, one of the observers said that just before that sequence that we showed the replay on, Vasquez had taken a shot to the back of the head. That may have affected his equilibrium.
He also has a slight cut over his left eye. Good right by Victor Vasquez, scores. I don't think Victor wants to get into a slugfest with Osnel Charles. I don't think he can knock him out. I think he can wear him down. But Charles is a good counterpuncher, and we've seen him actually exert himself a lot more in this fight than he did against Frankie Santos de Alba, where he just actually was flat-footed, and de Alba was able to tee off on those rights. So his footwork, much better this evening, Osnel Charles.
We're looking at 2 blood and guts fighters. Vasquez, by the way, is, I think, for the most part, dominating this fight. I think he's landing the better punches, but Osnel Charles has certainly landed his share of good punches.
We knew during the opening monologue this was going to be one of those fights that was going to be straight action-packed and 2.5 rounds in the books. We're seeing it right now. Charles with a glancing blow with that right. Good uppercut there by Vasquez. Comes with a left, then another right cross.
Vasquez is probably the better puncher of the 2 in terms of sheer power. He's not a one-punch knockout guy, but he has scored 7 knockouts, usually by just wearing a guy down.
Man, these two just come straight forward.
A lot of leather being thrown.
Absolutely. They're eating a lot of leather, dishing out a lot of leather. Charles now just cutting off the ring, stalking Vasquez, has him up against the ropes. Now they'll meet back in the center of the ring. Victor with a left and then a right. They'll get tangled up, broken apart. Round number 3 scheduled for 8 between Osnel Charles and Victor Vasquez.
Victor doing a good job of moving behind his left hand. That right hand, when he throws it moving forward, is usually not a knockout shot. It's a connecting shot that he's trying to do.
Also, too, Victor, good right, is not content with just throwing one punch. He's leading with that left. He's quickly coming with that right. Good combinations.
Osnel Charles dropping his hand saying, come on, you can't hurt me. Well, we'll see.
Good right by Charles. Osnel Charles getting a little full of himself in round number 3. Vasquez comes with a right.
We've seen guys do that and get tagged, and they don't look so funny afterwards.
Absolutely. Nate Campbell comes to mind.
Indeed.
Three in the books.
That was there was some good stuff in that round.
Very spirited action. We'll step aside. More boxing to come right after this.